So the new UE5 Aberration map has released on Ark Ascended. The release was really rocky with multiple setbacks, making the community go insanely toxic. I mean, they were crazy mad. Is the map worth everything that happened before it finally released? So this is my Ark Ascended review based on the map and all the new additions we got with the map, including Bob's Tall Tales 2. On release day, the map was pushed back almost 25 hours after it was supposed to be released. And people weren't happy at all. And to be honest, this was the one time that I believed the wildcard was actually going to keep to the time schedule after everything they promised and after pulling the map back to apparently fix it and make sure it was up to standards because they wanted to get different things out all at the same time. So when you think about the whole center fiasco, you would think that after that, they would actually release this on time because this is where they're supposed to start setting standards. We were also promised a UE 5.4 visual update, but these things were retracted last minute and are still pending, so we're kind of still waiting for them. So your aberration might be lagging just a little bit, but in my opinion, that is actually a good thing because if you think about it, the fact that we just got aberration and it's kind of working smoothly for now, if they added so many other things to the release date, we were going to see way more delays and a lot of things wouldn't be working. We do know that the PS5 community had issues and they couldn't actually launch the game and it kept making them crash. We did see Wildcard come out and fix that, which was good because we're seeing them actually pay attention to fixing things. We've got multiple updates since the map came out to kind of keep things stable. So this is really good response and really good reaction time. But again, most of these problems shouldn't have existed in the first place. But now, the delay, pulling back of the upgrades we're supposed to get. These things were not the biggest blindsides we actually got with this map. There was so much more that actually hit us like straight out of nowhere. It is crazy. Firstly, let's talk about the map. The new Aberration map, in my opinion, feels a little soulless. There just feels like there's a lack of soul. I feel like a lot of the ruggedness and the grit has been lost. With the new texture style we've seen in Ark Ascended, things just looked a little bit too soft. It was like there was no grittiness and grunginess to it. Although some parts of the map, I have to say, look very, very amazing. When you sit there and just look at it for a while, it does look really nice, especially in different times of day. But then some other parts lack the kind of ambient and atmospherical lighting that Wildcard could have used to showcase the power of the UE5 engine and its lighting capabilities. There was so much room for them to do things that just blew your mind with all the capabilities they have at their fingertips, but I just didn't really see it. But one thing that really stuck out to me was the lighting shafts everywhere. The lighting shafts were just making me lose frames for no reason. From the sun. How? And also some of the rocks were glowing from no source of a glow. So you could see the rocks glowing. When you go close up to these rocks, there's no source. There's no crack that has an actual purple goo or whatever to show you that, yeah, this is where that glow is coming from. They just kind of just put it there and expect you to believe it's there when it's not there. And if you even go behind this and you mesh in, it's still not there. They just literally just flung on a ambient lighting pack and didn't actually give us a reason why we have these ambient lights. For some, these things might be small, but these are the things that make things visually stunning. And when something looks visually stunning and then you go closer to it and it shows you why it has such things, it just makes it even more realistic. It builds immersion. And flying around the map exploring, I also noticed some pixelation and polygons in the water across the map while playing on epic settings. So I wasn't playing on lower settings or whatever to make my system run this, and it just wasn't great. I could see polygons. It's just really annoying when you can see little things like this, especially in the water, because water is a big part of every single map, and Aberration doesn't have so much of it, but it does have different types of it. So when you're seeing all these polygons and things in water that is kind of unique in this map, it's just a little bit annoying. But overall now, there wasn't many issues with the map itself, as I actually only found one teleportation spot, which they gotta fix, because if you can actually get in there or find a way to get into this, you could die a painful death. But overall, the build of the map was pretty decent. This was far beyond what we saw in the center. Like, this was leagues above, which is perfect and which makes their statement of the fact that they are in charge of this stand true. They are in charge of this, so they actually put time and they gave us an actual decent build. And after going around a little bit more, I saw that most little places that seemed like they could have been potential mesh holes and mesh points were actually covered up. Although they were covered up sloppily, they were covered up, meaning that last minute checks did go in and they actually came out to seal the deal. So they saw these things and they patched them up. Even though it's sloppily done and you can see it blatantly, they did patch it up. And surprisingly, even playing on epic settings all round, which I don't usually do because I stream a lot now, I got only 2 fatal errors in the last 15 hours of playing the map. I literally got only 2 fatal errors, which is crazy because normally if you play on epic settings on a new map on launch week, you're going to be getting fatal errors every 2 minutes. But I played on epic settings, pushing my system to its limit, and I still ran pretty smoothly. So the build, it's sustainable. And as I've said, we've seen multiple updates run out since the release to fix minor issues and some bugs, as this is a story map, so you can see the effort from Wildcard and Snail Games. So that's good to see, but again, some of these problems shouldn't have existed. Now, if I was to rank this map on its visual and its playability, I would actually give this map a 6.7 out of 10, because I do know a lot of people are having issues with it on lower end PCs or on their consoles with a lot of lag. Since the update, a lot of PlayStation players and a lot of Xbox players are experiencing a lot of lag, kind of like the old days on PS4 with ASE. But yes, 6.7 isn't a crazy high score, but I was just expecting a little bit more colors, more lighting. Yes, things do look really nice here and there, but imagination is normally better than reality, and I think I imagined just a lot better. And to be honest with you, maybe all that hype around the map kind of died when they just kept postponing and you sat there just soaking up all the negative energy from the discords and the comment sections of things, and maybe that just killed it a little bit for me because I had so much anticipation. I came on and I couldn't play it, and I had to go play other game modes just to wait. So maybe that killed some of the vibe for me. I'm not sure. Let me know about you. Now, before we go on, Pyromanes. Pyromanes need to get gone. They need to be removed from this map. They're ruining the balance of the powerhouses on this map, and I'm just seeing way too many of them too frequently. They're also a pay-to-play feature. There's too many pay-to-play features right now dumped into aberrations. We don't need the Pyromane. Take it out. Let's forget about that, and now let's talk about Bob Tall Tales 2. We knew we were getting a few new things on this pack, like the Cosmo, Survivormate, and the Blimps. These things like the Blimps and Survivormate were causing a bit of a stir in the community anyway. A lot of people don't like the idea of Survivormate, myself included, as in my opinion, it's too soon for this kind of content in the game. And moreover, this just drives Ark into a common generic survival market that we see nowadays, with every game having the same features and the same automation across the board. It's getting boring at this point. Survivormate is going to be an addition that helps a good majority of players. We can't lie about that. No one can lie about it. Like it or not, it's going to help a lot of players. It is what it is. The people who have 9-to-5s or are content creators, to save a little time on those mundane tasks like farming and sorting things out in their base, this is going to help a lot. But there is a lot of loopholes that can cause something like this to be an issue if we aren't careful here. Like, it boasts a large bit of HP, which could be a tough thing on PvP trying to get rid of these guys. But so far, from what I've seen, it doesn't have many combat abilities. We may see a rise in people building resource bases to set up their robots close to farming areas with the use of different apps or devices, so players can kind of like keep these guys running indefinitely and playing remotely. Couple this with the new cryopod system, we might see further issues with lag and issues for people who rely on pocket fridges and generators to actually go around and drop their dinos in places. So if people are building more, there's going to be less space to actually have free land to pop a generator down and pop your cryo fridge out. But for me personally, my biggest problem is that I just feel like this edition, it takes away some soul in Ark. That's my biggest thing about it. I feel like farming and traversing the map to farm is a big aspect of the game, and this saps away from that soul from Ark. And now that we are on the topic of traveling across the map, this is Aberration, a map that is built on the premise of everything is grounded, right? But now we've seen an addition of customizable blimps. These blimps were teased a while ago, and most of us, we kind of believed there was going to be a single person blimp with customizable options that would mostly be visual, but it turns out that it's way more than that. If you've ever played Ark Survival Evolved, imagine a skiff, but bigger. And as I said, Aberration is a map that's supposed to keep everyone grounded, and you only get off the ground after you go near endgame and you start getting things that can glide, like the wingsuit, like your rock drakes. So having this, in addition with a lot of the other things we've gotten, is making the map seem like every other map now. Although these blimps don't really affect PvE as much, this makes PvP even worse, as now your cliff platform base or your cliff platform towers are just not effective anymore. And if used properly now, you can fly up to people's bases and raid them with dinos on their bases, dropping them on their bases, or we can even use the soaking method we've seen people use with the Oasis sword. But don't get it twisted, there were a few new fun things added on this pack, like the bubble guns and then the spotlight. These are things added in that pack that I think are pretty fun and a little bit quirky. And I have to say, the new textures for the clothing and building skins, in my opinion, are some of the best we've actually seen across the board. I mean, official and unofficial. They're pretty nice and they seem pretty real, and I kind of like the old Victorian style they went with for this. And the new Cosmo Spider, it's a fun addition, and it's as fun as you'd think it would be, and it's a really balanced addition to the game. But now, let's talk about the LING. Oh buddy. Before the release of Aberration, I made a video and I said, hey guys, look, the LING seems cool, but I don't think it's going to even come near to slapping anything away from the Rock Drake. The Rock Drake is still going to be one of the things you definitely need. But now, after taming one and using one, I take it back. The LING is actually going to hurt the Rock Drake. It's not just going to be a pinch or a sting. It's going to be a full-blown punch to the gut of the Rock Drake. The Rock Drake's abilities are all in the LING, except for going invisible. The invisibility is the only thing you're lacking. The LING is relatively easy to tame, and it's got so much mobility. And if you think about how hard it is to get an actual Rock Drake egg, you might not even want to get one in the first place. I do have a video on this dino, but what I will say is, with some of the new additions, it could be possible to get a LING before you're anywhere near getting that Drake, and you can make a stronger LING by the time people get their Drakes. So if it takes you 3 days to work up to your LING tame, but it takes you 2 weeks to get your first Rock Drake eggs, imagine all the breeding, and with the new things added to the game, you can make perfect stats in the space of 5-6 days before you even get near to actually going to get a Rock Drake egg. And by the time you get a Rock Drake egg, your LINGs will be stronger than any Drake you get from the wild. So what's the point? So even though at first I did think that this was only going to sting the Drake, it's going to do a lot more than sting. It's going to suplex this guy. Now, this next thing, it sickens me to my core. I swear to God, this actually just sickens me. I don't even know how to explain it at this point. One of the things we saw added, one of the things that blindsided us was a time traveling watch. Yes, we have time traveling in Ark. And it's a paid feature, and the worst thing about it, the thing that actually annoyed me the most, is literally just this. They knew about how much this was going to upset PvP, and how much you would literally need this to survive on PvP. So what did they do? In the Bob's Tall Tales trailer, they released the footage of this item, using it in a PvP scenario as its selling point. So they knew exactly what they were doing, and they still did it to say, look, you know you need this. So now they're forcing the hand of PvP players to buy this pack. This is just insane. They baited us with the trailer, showing you how OP it is, and we all know it's a paid feature, so if you want to have this crazy ability, you might as well go buy this. So now, think about it. Even if you ignore everything else, you deal with the airships that come with that. You deal with all these new things. How do you ignore this? How do you ignore people literally being able to reverse time around you? Battling ping, battling all these crazy things. And also, if they don't remove the pyromane, battling a pyromane, now they can literally just time travel behind you, grab their shotgun with their flame-throwing pyromane on their shoulder, and shoot the brakes off of you. How is this balanced in any way? This is just, I don't even know how to explain how hurt I am to see something like this. Like, what is this? This isn't Ark anymore, is it? Like, this is just not it. And now, when you also think about it, because of the fact that this is a paid feature, are we going to be seeing this being able to be transferred across the board? Can you take this out of the map and now you have it everywhere on Ark? If you do, that's going to break the balance of everything. And if you couple this with a few things we're going to be getting in the future, I don't even know. I don't even want to think about it. Like, I honestly don't even want to think about it yet. This is and never has been needed in Ark. I don't stand this. I don't condone this. I bought the pack, but I'm never going to use it. It just isn't. This is not the game for it. This is not the game for this kind of thing. And now, don't get me started with the new clock tower that speeds up crafting in nearby structures. There's literally a line of code that you can put into your ini files that kind of address this. But no, Snail Games would rather sell it to you than giving it to everyone across the board. No, we're just gonna sell it to you in a pack. When I said in my prediction video that I felt like we were losing Ark, losing its soul and the premise of Ark, I thought it was inevitable at the end of the day, but I thought it was gonna happen slowly, but this just quadrupled the speed of that, and we've lost so much in the space of a couple of days. What next are we going to get to top this? What next do they have to do to make it better than this? What next do they have to do to sell us something that is better and worth buying? What next? We've also seen the addition of gene manipulation, which I can't even start to explain how ridiculous that is. In a game where the RNG of stats is a huge part of it, not only have they destroyed breeding, they've also destroyed the RNG in the looting system with the new upgrade bench. So basically, if you've ever used the upgrade bench mod, they've added something like that with this pack, where you can grab a whole bunch of similar blueprints and make it a better version of it, and just keep upgrading it the more you find, right? And again, yes, a lot of people will love the idea of taking all their duplicate blueprints to make a better one. Of course, everyone's gonna like that. That's why they made it, right? But what I can't overlook is the fact that the reason we as players, especially us who have over 10, 20, 30, 40,000 hours in this game, one of the reasons we have so many hours is the fact that we have to spend hours finding the best stats, hours hatching dinos until we combine all the stats perfectly, because we have to keep hitting drops until we find the perfect blueprint that we are looking for. And they are just removing the things that made us spend so many hours and grew our bond with this game. This is going to just grow a fast food part-time player base on Ark, who just come for a little bit of time, then they leave again until the next update. So yeah, you see a boost of numbers for a month or so, and then the numbers crash again, because you're making a fast food audience who don't have to do anything. I don't have to sit around and tame 20 different Rexes and then spend another 2 weeks breeding the stats. No, I can just choose the stats and pop them in with a gun now. What's the point? I don't have to go searching for hundreds of drops. If I find the same blueprint 4 times, I'm gonna just use it to make a better one. What's the point? Hours are being lost in Ark. Longevity is going down. To be honest, I hate to say this feels like they're prepping us for something else. Or dare I say that Snail Games is trying to force everyone to conform to different demographics gaming restrictions across the world. We do know some countries, they can't game for too long. So we're seeing a lot of devs and publishers making things so you don't have to do the mundane tasks, so you have more time to enjoy the game with the little time you have to play it. Yes, this does help out in some ways, but again, you're not building a long-term audience, because when the next game comes out with all these same features, you're just gonna run to it. I've been kind of trying to stay away from this point of view, but it's just becoming too apparent and too prevalent. Maybe I'm wrong, but we are seeing it more often with a lot of new games, just using similar tactics to speed up tasks so you can have more fun with the little time you get to play. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm seeing things too differently, maybe I'm looking too much into these things, but I feel like a lot of games are doing that, and Snail Games is just lumping Ark into that same community and into that same player base. We're seeing a lot of games come up and die. ASA is technically a new game, so all the new fans to it are coming on the premise that it's the same as Pal World or anything else with all this automation, and it's going to ruin it first, because when they get bored after they've accomplished everything super easily, they're going to go back to Pal World, they're going to go back to these other games, and we're going to keep failing. And again, as I said, I see value in this gaming strategy from some companies, but again, it doesn't have a real place in Ark, and they keep adding this, they're going to just keep shoveling us down a bigger hole. And to be honest, I'm very torn right now, but my bottom line is, this is too much. Too much unnecessary things that weren't needed or didn't even have a place in Ark to begin with have been added to the game, and they've been added all together at the same time so quickly. We didn't need it to be like this. After all of this, the game will never be the same. Ark will never be the same after this. It may seem like there's more good than bad for some of you guys, but then if you look at it like this, if a weed is sown, sometimes the flower that blooms and blossoms may be beautiful or nice to look at, but deep down there's a problem that will keep growing, and if it gets too late, everything will be destroyed. and Ark might be going into that route. I don't want to see it get there. But yeah, that's my review and my opinions on the map. Is it crazy and outstanding? Not as much as I thought it would be, but is it good? Yes, it is good. I feel like it did stand up to a sort of standard, but I thought they were going to go above and beyond, because this is a map that could have done a lot for the game, and I hope it still does a lot for the game. If they did a little bit more, this would have been a staple and a statement. But again, we had delays, lots of problems, new updates, people couldn't even get onto the game, servers aren't working, some consoles can't play it, we didn't get some of the things they promised. So yeah, it's a little bit of a letdown, but overall, the map and its playability is actually pretty high quality, and it's actually better than the state that the island came out in. So yeah, they're doing better. This is better than before, but still bad. Let me know what you guys think. Are you okay with all the new additions? What do you like? What do you not like? What do you think about the map visually? Don't forget, if you are new here and this is your first time here, make sure to like, subscribe, check out more of my art content, and until next time, I'll catch y'all then.